Hi. How many people in this room know what 9gag is? Okay, so everybody. Okay, awesome. If you want to find very quick, awesome humor in the form of memes or videos or anything like that, 9gag is the place to be. We have Ray Chan on stage right now. He's going to tell us a little bit about his entrepreneurial journey and kind of how 9gag came to be. How you doing?
Good.
Excellent. So we'll just get right to it. Not many people know that you started 9gag in Hong Kong. It was a side project, and Facebook wasn't really that popular at the time. Can you tell us a little bit about how and why you built 9gag in the first place?
We love funny pictures. No. That was at that time Facebook was not really popular in Hong Kong, and then but we were still using MSN Messenger. Yeah, that means the Skype nowadays, and then. It was really difficult to share a funny picture. Just kind of like how you share a picture on WhatsApp or Line or WeChat, right? You have to click and then upload every time when you send to your friend. Yeah. So it was really troublesome. So we decided, hey, maybe we can just build a website and then upload it once, and then we can just send out the link. That's how we started to have that idea. Yeah. I think we were crazy, but not crazy enough to think that it could grow to this size. Yeah.
Right. I mean, when you first started, were you thinking, "Oh, funny pictures. That's where I need to focus all of my efforts"?
Yes. I think I'm not sure whether you remember the times that people forward a lot of those users' email or cat photos or the chain email. If you don't send it to 5 more person, you will die. That kind of email, right? I think useless stuff is the dominant content on the internet. Yeah, but I'm not saying that 9gag is useless. Yeah, when a thing makes you happy, it's not that useless. Yeah.
Well, it's not useless during your lunch break. It's not useless during your lunch break
Exactly.
at work.
Yeah, or when you're sitting at the toilet. Yeah.
The best place, I think, for sure. Okay, so how many people did you start out with? Was it just you, or did you have a couple others working with you?
At first, we have 3 guys, including me. One of them is my younger brother. And then after that, we add 2 more guys. And then right now, we call these 5 guys, we are the co-founders of 9gag. Yeah. This is one thing that we are pretty proud of, because we started 9gag in 2008. And then right now, after a few years, the 5 co-founders are still at our team, working on different roles. Yeah. So I think this is something kind of rare. Yeah, when you have more co-founders and they are still with you. Yeah, you know all the founder stories. Yeah.
Just to give the audience a little bit an idea of how freaking big 9gag is.
Not as big as Facebook.
Okay, not as big as
yet.
Facebook. But can you tell us a little bit about your monthly active users, web traffic, things like that?
Yeah. Right now, like any other internet business, basically you have a website and also an app. For website, we have about 70 to 80 million unique visitors a month. Yeah, and they're very global. Yeah, I'm from Hong Kong, but we don't really have any users in Hong Kong. Yeah, other than the 9gag team members. Yeah, because the content is in English. Hong Kong people kind of like in Singapore, but it's worse in the sense that they understand English, but they choose to read Chinese. Yeah. So we're not that big in Hong Kong, and our users are very distributed. The top countries are US and also Germany. Yeah, and so it's that's the website. And then for the app, right now, I won't mention the number of total downloads. It's useless. Yeah, because when someone downloads your app and don't use it anymore, then it's useless. But right now we have about 7 to 8 million active users on 9gag. And then one thing which is pretty, on the 9gag apps, one thing which we are pretty proud of is they're freaking active. The DAU is about 3 million. So basically, they almost go to 9gag every day. Yeah, so I'm sorry for wasting their time.
In the entire week before this conference, I was just scrolling through 9gag. I couldn't
doing
turn it
research,
off.
right?
My wife will tell you that yeah, I was just doing research, but it was addictive research. Okay, so moving on. How you and the 9gag team are one of the very few startups that have gone through Y Combinator and 500 Startups Accelerator in Silicon Valley. How did you end up in Silicon Valley, and how did you end up in both of those accelerators?
Yeah, sure. I think Basically, I think the biggest challenge when you build a company outside of Silicon Valley, a tech company, is you don't know a lot of people. Yeah, I think, for example, in Hong Kong, there are tons of rich people, right? But most of them, they don't make money from the internet. They make money from real estate. Yeah, so if you want to build an internet business, they can't help you that much. For example, if you talk to Lee Ka-shing, he can't tell, he's not even on Facebook, I bet. Yeah, so it's really hard to understand more how to build an internet business. That's why we thought, hey, building internet business is kind of like playing basketball. If you want to play well, no matter how good you are in Hong Kong or in Singapore, people don't give a fuck, right? Yeah. But if you play in the NBA, no matter how bad you are, people still think you are a big shot. Yeah, that's the reason why we try to understand more from the best. That's why we applied to the Accelerator in the US. Luckily, we got into 500 startups. I think we were the batch 1. They call it batch 1, but in fact, if we are the batch 2, 500 startups do a lot of these kind of funny things. Yeah, that's how 500 startups is. And then after that, we didn't raise any. We raised some funding after 500 startups. But to be honest, at 500 startups, we didn't work on iGet. Yeah, we work on some photo sharing ideas. And then on demo day, we present an idea about online karaoke. So basically, totally irrelevant stuff. But those 2 ideas, they failed very badly. Yeah. But we met some mentors at 500 startups, and then they said, hey Ray, instead of building some user scrap, maybe you should just work on something that they are users. Because at that time, we continued to run NiGet, and NiGet started to pick up the traffic, yeah.
Was there a tipping point where you saw like hockey stick growth in your users, and was it during your time in Silicon Valley, or was it much more of a steady growth?
I would say we have a gradual growth all the way, but somehow after the integration with a lot of Facebook stuff at that time, I think that was late 2011, early 2012, then the traffic picked up a lot. So if I have to thank someone, I have to thank Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah, because if without Facebook, basically, we are just another guy in Hong Kong. Yeah. Okay. And then for YC, right? YC is another story. We applied to YC before, and then they rejected us. Yeah. And then, after raising some funding, we thought that, hey, it would be cool for us to fly the whole team to Silicon Valley to feel the atmosphere. At that time, we have 7 people in our team, so the cost is not that high. Yeah, and then I talked to Sam, who's now the YC president. And then he said, hey, Ray, why don't you join YC? Yeah, because, and then we thought, hey, we should join YC because, as I said before, the connections is the biggest issue for a non-Silicon Valley-based startup. If you rely heavily on Facebook or Twitter or as the platform, and also want to get money from Silicon Valley investor. So we joined YC, another, I would say, top accelerators in the US, which got the best alumni network. Yeah.
Okay. So can you tell us a little bit about the distinction, sort of the different DNA, the different nature of 500 Startups Accelerator versus Y Combinator Accelerator?
I think because we joined them quite a few years ago, so probably things have changed. But I think at 500 Startups, usually when they talk about is, hey, they like a combo, which is a designer, hackers, and hustler. That means they want a so-called more complete team. Yeah. And then at YC, they focus more on engineering and engineers. Yeah, I think that is one of the biggest difference. And then back at the time, another difference is there are tons of international companies at 500 Startups. Yeah, but there were not too many companies, international companies at YC. But I think things have changed right now. For example, there are more and more non-US companies joining YC. Yeah. Big difference. Another big difference is how they work is kind of is very different. For example, 500 Startups, they got a very big co-working space so that you can work with other teams, 20 to 30 teams at the same time. So it feels kind of like fraternity, kind of like college. So you have beer with those guys, you talk to them, and then you do nothing with them, something like that. Yeah. And
Read
then
9gag with them.
Pardon?
Read 9gag with them.
At that time, NiGet was not that popular. Yeah, so they don't read NiGet. Yeah, and then they didn't read NiGet. And then for YC, they host a Tuesday dinner, and then you gather. So I would say the model is kind of different. So it depends on what you like. Yeah.
Okay. What was the single most important thing that you took away from each, if there is one?
Oh, for YC, it's always make things people want. Yeah, I think that's really, really important, especially when you're building a consumer-facing business or any business. Yeah, and then for 500 subs, what I took away is not exactly. I would say is from 500 subs is there were a mentor who is right now one of our investors. His background is from Google and Zynga, and then he's an Indian guy. His name is called Manish. And then he always asks me, hey, we always bounce off some idea with him. And then whatever we say, he said, hey, Ray, where's the data? Yeah. For example, hey, I think this color is better. Where's the data? I want to launch this feature. What's the data? Basically, he keep shutting that data, that kind of concept to us. So that helps us a lot, yeah. Because I know there's no formula to build a good company, but at least there's some basic rules that you can follow to make your chance to fail lower. Yeah, I think being a data-informed company, I think that kind of helps, yeah.
Okay. So you said that, yeah, you started out in 500 with a different idea than 9gag, but you were still running 9gag on the side. And then can you just briefly in what was the exact moment where you're like, okay, I'm done with this. Let's just focus on 9gag and let's make it grow big.
Yeah. I think there is a dilemma because I'm not an engineer. I study law at college. So basically, I'm the guy who talks more than I work. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm here. Yeah. So, so for guys like this, or you can call yourself the business development guy or the so-called CEO, which your main job is replying emails. So the E stands for email. Yeah. And the thing is that guys like me, basically, we have tons of new ideas every day. So it's really hard to focus on just one idea. Luckily, we have my co-founders he's my younger brother, but he's very determined. And then because he studied architecture, so he's kind of like designer style. So he always asks me, hey, I think this idea is fucking stupid, something like that. Because we are brothers, so we are very honest, yeah. And we keep having different ideas at the time because we always thought that 9gag was not that useful, yeah. And then we always wanted to build something more useful. And that's why we have other ideas. Until after joining 500 Startup and with all those mentoring we got, and then the mentor said, hey, you only have a few people in your team, right? Probably you can't do a lot of things at the same time. So maybe you should just pick one that you like the most or that you think that you have the best shot, and then you just focus on that. If that doesn't work, then maybe you kill it, and then you work on another thing. So you can work on different stuff, but not at the same time, maybe step by step, yeah.
And perhaps you can tell us all a little bit about what was the lowest point on your 9gag journey so far. I mean, it's all fun and games, but at the end of the day, you're running a company, and there are highs and lows. So what was one of the lowest points, and how did you deal with it?
Yeah, sure. I think there are a lot. I think shit happens every day, right? I think there's a saying, the best is yet to come. I always told our team member that the shit is yet to come, right? The biggest shit is yet to come, yeah. I think it's always like that, yeah. But so there are always some low points in the future, right? So probably the worst case hasn't happened. Yeah, but I think one of the lowest point that I remember, but right now when I look at it, I think this is a very good memory. Not very good, I would say. This is very memorable. Yeah, it's when we were at 500 startups, we were very lean. Not lean startup, that kind of lean is because we don't really spend money, that kind of lean. Yeah, and then we ran Airbnb. We ran a motel for $50 a night for 3 guys at the time. So there were only 2 beds. Yeah, and then I slept with my brother for 4 months. Yeah. Yeah, and then that's bad, but not the worst. 1 week we forgot to renew the hotel, and then we couldn't book it because it's kind of full. So we have to rent another place at Airbnb, which is nearby by the 500 staff office. It's in Mountain View, and then but they only have 1 bed. Yeah. Because that flat is supposed for couples. Yeah, and then we wanted to save money. Yeah, and then I think it's about $60 a night. Yeah, so we want to save money, and then 3 of us slept together for a week, and then I think it feels really weird when you wake up and then touch and other guys are I don't know, body, right? And that's not that's not your girlfriend. Yeah, I think that is, yeah, I would say it's one of the lowest, one of the lowest in that sense. Yeah.
Okay, I see. So, in terms of being strapped for cash or making money, is 9gag making money, or how do you plan to make money? I mean, you have, of course, a high volume of traffic, but how do you plan to, really earn?
Yeah, you're like an investor.
Right.
Yeah. I think there's always, I think when you're in internet business, right? Business by nature, by definition, you have to make money. So making money is not evil. I think the case is how you can make money in a good way, in the sense that people think that, hey, you deserve to get it. Yeah, and then you use your money in a good way. So people think that you use the money correctly. Yeah. I think for right now, 9gag, we have revenue. Yeah, I would say sometimes we have profit. It depends on the season. Right now we have our revenue mainly on advertising. Yeah, but to be honest, I'm not a big fan of advertising model. At least not for a community site like 9gag, because I think traditional advertisers they hate funny content. Yeah, I think because imagine if you are a big car company, right? You don't want your car ad next to a joke about car accident, right? Yeah. So most of them are pretty traditional or conservative in that sense. So we got very low CPM, yeah, very low ad money in that sense, yeah. So we don't make a lot of money. So I'm just wearing jeans. Yeah, I'm not wearing shirts. Yeah. Anyway, but we believe that the best case to make money should be more traditional. That means you provide service, and then your users pay for you. In that case, your user is your boss, but not advertiser is your boss, because after all, they have conflict of interest. So starting this year, we think more about how we can monetize in a good way. For example, we start to work with some game developers. We help them to promote their games, because there are more and more games, and but the top charts on Google Play and App Store is always just 10 spots or 20 spots, right? And you can go to Facebook, but Facebook is getting more expensive because the demand is getting higher, right? So we believe that we can help to help to solve the discovery problem, because we have a good amount of users, and then we can also help those game developers to find the users, and also help our users to discover some new games. And in that case, we can get money from the users, because we can do either revenue sharing and stuff with the users or with the game developers. Yeah.
So yeah, in December you officially went into gaming with Red Dead Redemption in partnership with Indonesia's Touch 10.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about how it's been going, what your plans are, for the future of 9gag and gaming?
Yeah, sure. I think working with games company, basically we got that advice or we got that suggestion all the time. Hey, people go to 9gag because they have too much free time. Yeah, not too much, they have free time. Yeah. So there must be some good synergy with games and the 9gag community. But the thing is, we have to test it out before we can say that. Yeah, that's why I just found a good friend who work on games, and then I just bounced the idea off with him. It's Anton. I think he's at the venue. Yeah, and then I asked him, hey, Anton, what do you think about this idea? And then he said, hey, why don't we work together? So that within, I think, 2 to 3 days, and then we decided to work together. So we didn't go through any due diligence and stuff. Basically, we just want to see whether it works or not. And then we just pick one of his old games, which is kind of a casual game. Then we brand it, we rebrand it a little bit and improve a little bit of the gameplay. And then we just launch it to the audience, to our audience. And then I think within 3 to 4 weeks, we got 1 million installs. Yeah, including both Android and iOS. It's not a very big amount of install, but I think it's significant enough for any game developers in the world. Yeah, so right now we can say that, hey, there's synergy between games and 9gag. Yeah.
Okay, very good. And are you planning on releasing any other games with Touch 10 anytime soon, or any other gaming studios?
Yes, definitely, because otherwise it will be just an experiment, right? So we'll be releasing more games, but we have to work things out, because right now we just launched a new app 2 weeks ago. It's called Night Chat. You should check it out. Yeah, it's like put it simple, like it's interest forum on mobile, something like that. Yeah, I haven't figured out a pitch. Hopefully there is no investor here. Yeah, and then yeah, that's why after that we will work more on the game side. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So apart from really high traffic, you have raised funds from Silicon Valley. What were some of the? I mean, yeah, apart from just high traffic. What were some of the key elements of 9gag that attracted investment from those two VCs?
What is the other thing other than high traffic?
Okay.
High traffic.
Just high traffic.
No. I think that attraction is very important. One of our investors, the founder of AngelList, he said his name is Navo. Navo said traction speaks louder than words, right? I think nowadays there are tons of people who wants to start a company, right? They always talk big vision, yeah, and then but they only talk, right? They don't do. So traction is about to show that you can really execute, right? So traction helps a lot, but after all, you have to figure out what you really want to do with your product, right? For example, some of our investors, they always ask me, hey Ray, what's your vision of 9gag? Right? Well, how do you see 9gag in 5 years, right? It's kind of like an interview questions when you try to apply for a job, yeah. But somehow you have to really think about that, because after all, it doesn't really matter whether your idea is good or bad. It matters a lot because it matters to you a lot because you have to spend at least 3 years if you raise funding. If you are a good guy, a good entrepreneur, you have to spend 2 to 3 years to work on that idea, right? So you have to figure out what you really want to do with it. Yeah. But to be honest, also this related note is there are always advice from speakers or from successful people on stage or on some talks. They always ask you, hey, you should follow your passion. When you choose your career or start your company. I think that is bullshit. Yeah, that's the worst advice. I think that's just for me, right? But that's the bullshit, because even for me, my passion is not really funny picture, right? My passion is, I don't know, doing nothing at home, playing computer games, right? Yeah. But 9gag is something that I'm willing to spend time on. Yeah, and I think we do a pretty good job there. So when you choose a career or choose an idea to work on, don't just choose something that you're passionate about. Because to a lot of people, they're passionate to become famous, or that's why in Hollywood they got the highest amount of homeless people, right, in the U.S. Yeah. So passion is not a good indicator on the idea or on how you raise funding, right? Passion is a better indicator is how you spend your time. And then at that time, we spend the most time on 9gag. That's why we focus on 9gag and shut down other projects. And then I think you have to show your investors that you're very determined. You will stick with it for 2 to 3 years, yeah, or have a big vision behind it. Yeah, and then somehow you have to convince your investors to put some money in you. I think by reading Tech in Asia, TechCrunch or other tech website, it makes you feel like raising money is very easy. Yeah, it's not really that easy unless you have track record. Imagine if someone asks you to give you $1, give him $1. You will also ask, hey, why do I have to give you $1, right? So when a guy gives you 1 million or 2 million, it's not that easy. Yeah, so you have to convince them you're determined. Yeah.
How much have you raised so far, and can you speak to the valuation of 9gag from funny pictures to all the way to this point?
We raised 2.8 million US dollars in 2012. It's a seed round. I shouldn't talk about valuation, yeah, but somehow I would say people love funny shit, yeah. And no, I think the thing is, when we look at it, or when investors look at it, it's not about funny picture anymore. It's about the audience. Just like when you are working on advertising, you don't look at a website, you look at the audience of that website. So I think there are something that we can do with our audience, especially our audience are really engaging. Yeah, so I think that's why we have a decent valuation, yeah. But somehow that's just useless unless you can make it work or you can get it big. Otherwise, it's just on paper, right?
Well, I think you've proven that funny shit is valuable to the world. Very quickly in the last minute that we have here, can you just tell us maybe some other companies that are doing great things with user-generated content, sort of similar to 9gag? Doesn't have to be an Asian company. It can be anywhere.
I think there are a lot of companies that are doing user-generated content. For example, like Instagram, right? Yeah, I can say that Instagram is doing a good job, but I don't have to say that. I think I see there are a lot of websites, they start to focus more on video side. For example, I met a company called Video Selfie. It's also a 500 staff company. So I think what they are working on is very interesting. They add kind of like stickers to your movie, so that you have a bunny ears when you take a video or something like that. So I think there are a lot of interesting things among the user-generated space. I think the question is how you can make it big and how you can monetize. I think these are the questions that a lot of people will ask when you tell them you have a user-generated content website or app. Yeah, but for us, we always think that it's not about the content. It's always about the people and the community. Yeah.
Okay, everyone, put your hands together for Ray Chan from 9gag.
Thank you.